friends, welcome. My name is Marina. I'm the person behind Everything Marina Food Blog. We bake macarons and other desserts here. Today we're gonna be making filling for macarons. Let's just talk back a little bit. In the previous video we baked macaron shells. We used two different food coloring and I show you how to play a little bit with the colors. So we have this fall vibes kind of orange macaron shells. Some of them just plain and some I decorated with the flakes that are gluten-free. So this is going to be gluten-free macarons 100%. And I think they're really good for fall. I was asking you to decide which filling we're going to be using for these macaron shells. Some of them ask me if I can make something with the cinnamon. I understand totally. This is fall and the cinnamon is very popular flavor for this time of the year. So why not to make something with cinnamon? But I was shopping in a store and I found this coffee creamer. Why I decided even to buy this creamer for my coffee? Because it says holiday spice and the spices are cinnamon and cardamom. So this will be interesting flavor and it says holiday spice. So I tried this. This is almond creamer with my coffee and a really good flavor for the holidays. And I thought, has cinnamon? Let's just spice it up with another spice and make this combination for macarons. Because the color that we made macaron shells, just perfect for this. So that's another way. If you have no idea what kind of flavor to make for the filling for the macarons, and when you're shopping around in a store, maybe in ice cream shop, see what they have flavors. This is totally spontaneous, but I think will be perfect for the holiday season. And if you haven't tried this creamer, try. I really love it. I never even thought that I will combine cinnamon with cardamom. So that's our two flavors that we're gonna be using today. If you're ready, let's get started. So here's our inspiration. This is creamer from the local store that we're gonna be making the same filling. I could have even just made the American buttercream and use this flavor to add instead of heavy cream in the buttercream, but let's just make our own. This will be inspiration, but we're going to be making our own. Let's talk about ingredients. We're making American buttercream, so I'm using unsalted butter. We need powdered sugar. We're going to be using heavy cream. If you don't want to use heavy cream, you can use skim milk. You can even use water. Heavy cream is just for the texture, for that richness of the cream. If you want to substitute with some different liquid, it's totally fine. I mean, it's half and half or 1% milk, it's totally fine. Then two spices that we're going to be using, and this I pick up in my local store, so everywhere available. Ground cinnamon and ground cardamom. The two spices, it kind of look like a black pepper, but when you open it up, that's really different spice. It's just really perfect for the holidays. I also were looking in a store and I found this ground one, but they also have non-ground one, and it's just the seeds. I want to show you. If you can't find ground one, then just use seeds. They're very popular, and this time around, they kind of like, smell is amazing. They kind of like a little olive color, green. So if you can't find a ground one, then just use this and grind maybe in a food processor. But I would love to use this just for pictures because it's just those seeds are really gonna be looking cute. I think if I add maybe some cinnamon sticks, macarons, and cardamom, whatever you can find available in your store. I also gonna leave links for those spices for Amazon if you want to just order, if you live in United States, for example. So you're welcome to use it. Another thing, what are we using? Tools, measuring spoon. We're going to be using 1 teaspoon. Then we need spatula. We're going to be using pastry bag. I'm using not a big one, not a large one, and the piping tip. For this kind of buttercream, for this macarons, I decided I don't want to use the round piping tip. Maybe we'll use something like an open star, and this one is Wilton 4B. So let's just a little bit add to that buttercream a little bit texture. So when we sandwich macarons, it's not going to be just plain shells. That star, when we pipe buttercream, it will just give texture. And when we're going to be taking picture of macarons, it's just going to look really pretty. Because we baked macaron shells, and some of them with the flakes and some just plain, I did not want to decorate any those shells, the filled macarons. Maybe later I will show you how to decorate with the royal icing. But right now, for the cinnamon cardamom macarons, we just gonna use plain shells, star piping tip, and that's it. And you'll see how simple you can pipe this American buttercream and how it's gonna look really pretty on a picture. Just simple with the piping tip. Nothing special, simple is gonna look beautiful. What else we need? We need KitchenAid, and I'm using paddle attachment. And this time I'm not using my glass mixing bowl because I usually bake macarons in that one. And this one is specifically for the buttercream. So I don't have to worry that it's oily. It's just always used for buttercream. So, another tool that I'm going to be using, and I'll tell you when we're going to be using the sieve. If you're ready, let's get started and fill this beautiful macaron shells. So this is inspiration. We're just going to leave it on the side. I just showed you where I got this flavor, and I hope you guys going to like it. So let's make this American buttercream. We need KitchenAid mixer, paddle attachment, mixing bowl, and butter. Butter I'm using unsalted. If you like to have salted butter, you're welcome to use, or you can use unsalted and then add a little bit of salt, but it's all up to you. Right now I'm using unsalted, just really regular butter, and I don't have to really worry about the color, because sometimes when I'm making flowers from buttercream, I like to use more whiter butter. But for the filling, for the macarons, plus we're gonna be adding some flavor, cinnamon, it will add color to the butter, so I don't have to really worry. So even yellow, very yellow butter like Kellogg Gold will work perfectly. It's all up to you. Use your favorite brand. It's not like we're making ganache, so this is just a buttercream. And buttercream is a room temperature. It's not too soft and it's not very cold, because we're gonna be whipping and then adding powdered sugar, and we're gonna be adding heavy cream. So we don't want also that butter be too soft, because we're gonna add liquid, and when we're gonna be piping, we don't want that kind of runny buttercream. We still need that shape. So right now in the mixing bowl, I added butter. And how I usually do my buttercream, I usually use paddle attachment. I'm whipping that butter for a few minutes, and then I'm adding my dry ingredients and heavy cream. On a low speed. Very, very low speed. And if your butter is too cold, let it warm up a little bit to room temperature. But at the same time, I don't like to use very cold butter. So we have to like find that perfect temperature for the buttercream. And you can make it even more, but don't put like on a whip, because we're not whipping that butter. We just using paddle attachment. We're mixing that. Just want to show you, if you have butter stick to the paddle attachment, just use a spatula and just mix it. Ooh. All right, you see the butter is already kind of start whipping. It's getting warmer. We don't want that. We just want to mix that butter. And right now, what my trick and my tip when I'm making buttercream, I'm sifting always powdered sugar into mixing bowl with the butter. So this is powdered sugar, and I'm sifting straight to that. Of course, you can sift in a separate mixing bowl and then add spatula or maybe whisk. You can use it. Right now, I did not sift it all. Into this powdered sugar, I'm gonna add my dry spices. The first one is cardamom, and just using 1 teaspoon. Just straight into powder. And 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. It smells so good. Like that. That's what I have. And continue sifting. This is my trick when I'm adding spices into buttercream, or when I'm making macaron shells. I sift spices with powdered sugar. I think it's very important to do this, and this my tip. I'm trying to avoid any clumps from that powdered sugar and from spices. I wish you can guys smell that. It's really holiday spice. Maybe I can even try to make ganache without spices and see how that will turn out. And maybe not just with white chocolate, but maybe with like caramel, maybe. Give even more flavor. Or maybe mix some darkened milk chocolate. Even spice it up a little more. It all depends on your powdered sugar, but I always recommend to sift. That's it. And right now you have to be very careful. We're going to be mixing on a low speed. If your mixer doesn't have that very, very low speed, I would highly recommend to cover maybe with the towel, or if you have that cover for the mixing bowl, because we don't want any powdered sugar and spices go around your kitchen. And I'm using towel just to cover that. And on a very, very low speed. You can also like turn your mixer for a few seconds and then turn it off, turn it on and off. I have different mixers and I always forgetting which one has that very low speed and which doesn't. I have some powder. So on a low, let's just mix. We need all ingredients to combine. And I'll show you, I can stop. This is buttercream. We can stop and continue mixing. It's totally fine. It's not like we whipping the ganache. And you can use spatula to scrape any butter from the sides mixing bowl and the bottom. Guys, I wish you can smell this. If you try this recipe, please let me know how you like this holiday spice. And I want to show you closer what is going on in the mixer. And you can stop mixer, use the spatula. You see the color right now? I just have a few pieces of butter that's not combined with the powdered sugar, but I want to show you right here. I hope you guys can see this just color, very natural, from cinnamon, ground cinnamon, and from ground cardamom. And smells so amazing. Continue mixing for a few minutes. We need everything combined. We have one more ingredient to add. It's heavy cream. I want to show you what's going on in the mixing bowl. All this butter. You see, butter is not too soft, and at the same time it's not too cold. But I do have a few pieces on the bottom, so I'm using spatula and just scraping this butter. Still gonna be using low speed, and we're gonna add heavy cream. In my recipe, I'm usually adding about 2 tablespoons, but I'm adding 1 tablespoon, and then I see consistency, because sometimes it's more than enough and sometimes I need a little bit extra heavy cream. The technology to make American buttercream, it's very, very easy. I've seen many bakers just putting powdered sugar and allspices and butter at the same time, and then just using paddle attachment, mixing everything, and that's it. It's all up to you. I like to add everything slowly, and I want to see the texture, and I want to see that consistency. I'm adding the rest of the heavy cream. Oops, what just happened? Paddle attachment disconnected. This buttercream reminds me of brown butter. I have that recipe when you make your own brown butter and then you add powdered sugar, and that's another flavor for the fall. I'm gonna leave that recipe below this video if you want to check it out. But I think the cinnamon and cardamom, very, very good flavor for the fall. And right now, just using a little higher speed. It's on 4 right now. We just want to make sure that we don't have any clumps of butter and powdered sugar. We need everything combined. Now I want to show you the final buttercream. What do we have? Oops. This is what I have in my mixing bowl. And right now I'm using spatula and just mixing everything. Just want to make sure again. I do that with the buttercream and I do that with the ganache. You see, because we use paddle attachment, we don't have any that bubbles, large bubbles. If you will use a whisk, you will have those bubbles because you're whipping your butter. But we don't need, we need to just mix that butter. So this is our filling. I said before, I wish you guys can smell this holiday spice. Let's fill. I clean up a little bit my table with dirty dishes. Right now I'm gonna cut pastry bag. And I'm placing this piping tip. And I'm using my pastry bag holder. It's just easier. If you don't have this, you can use any tall jar or cup. This is our holiday buttercream. And I'm placing buttercream into pastry bag with the piping tip. I have this parchment paper that I like to place my macaron shells. The macaron shells already paired together with the similar sizes. All we need just to place them one side flat on a countertop, pipe buttercream, sandwich with another macaron shell, and repeat with the rest. Beautiful color of this macaron shells. You see, that's why I'm using parchment paper. Then when I'm filming, it's easy to move, and I want you guys to see the better angle. The buttercream. All right, let's fill macarons. Let's fill the cinnamon, cardamom macarons. This is holiday spice macarons. Oops. And I'm just piping buttercream this way. And you see the texture, even if you have just plain macaron shells, this piping tip will really makes difference. It looks beautiful. And sometimes you just want to show you a little closer. And this is just buttercream, so nothing really special, but the flavor is amazing. I need to hold. And this is buttercream, so don't be afraid to put as much as you want. I personally like the same amount as macaron shells. We don't want too much. See? That's what I have. I want you guys to see the best angle. We're taking another macaron shell, we're sandwiching together, and you see how beautiful is the texture of this filling. That's why I decided to use this, not just plain round, but this will just give texture to our filling. We're using just plain macaron shells. We're not going to be decorating, but because of that piping tip, it's really give that texture. Look really beautiful when you place maybe in a box. If you sell macarons, or maybe you want to give to your friends, family. There you go, my favorite part. And this buttercream is very stable. It's really good for freezing. If you decide to freeze macarons, you just need to make sure you're gonna keep them in airtight container in a freezer. And then when you're ready to serve them, you can defrost. You can defrost macarons, just placing them in a fridge overnight or maybe for a couple hours. Look at this filling. Plain macaron shell with the beautiful filling. You see the texture? And I think the color is really, really perfect. Sometimes just switching that piping tip, it's a good idea. Really, really holiday spice. So that's what I have. This is what I have. This is cinnamon cardamom macarons. It's really perfect for the holidays. The next step, what are we doing? As usual, no, we're not cleaning up the space yet. When you fill all macarons, it doesn't matter ganache, any filling, you placing them flat like that in an airtight container. I always place flat them. I've seen some people placing like this on a side, but my personal opinion, when I place them flat like that, it just gives me security that my filling will not run anywhere, especially ganache. And I like to place, I always place this way. I have many containers, cover, and like that, I'm gonna place them in the fridge for 12 to 24 hours. Macarons needs to mature before we can enjoy them. And this perfect American buttercream filling, you can freeze macarons like that in airtight container for up to 6 months. And if you decided to have maybe one with a cup of coffee, just take it out or defrost before you're gonna be serving. But American buttercream, it's perfect for freezing macarons. It's perfect to make macarons right now before holidays, different flavors maybe, or different colors, and place them in the freezer. And then when holiday comes, maybe you want to sell, you can place them in the boxes or serve at the table. It's all up to you. But like I said, it's perfect for the holiday, perfect for freezing. So I hope you like this video. Leave me a comment. What do you think about this flavor? Maybe you want to make something different, some different flavor. So leave me in the comments. I'm always happy to answer all your questions if you have about macarons and about flavors. Thank you for watching. Subscribe and happy baking.